Cartagena gave Susan Sarandon a well-deserved recognition by handing the keys to the city to her, and also paid tribute to her at the Adolfo Mejía Theater, which was packed with fans from all around the world that cheered and gave a great applause for the actress. She was accompanied by her son, the film producer Jack Henry Robbins. The actress signed the book of distinguished visitors and thanked Cartagena for such a great honor that was receiving the keys to a beautiful city with a wonderful story, and she also hoped to return soon with her family. It was also very gratifying hear her praise the Colombian film by Ciro Guerra, Embrace of the Serpent, which was nominated for an Oscar this year.
Unfortunately, I think pictures are more powerful, sorry. I love reading. My kids are avid readers, but I think that our attention span is getting smaller and smaller, and people are not reading as much as they used to. I like the feel of books. I brought Love in the Time of Cholera with me to read again while I was here. And I think that it's very hard, it's very difficult to take a really good book and make it into a good movie. Because your mind does so many wonderful things when you read. But I do think that in terms of how we are digesting information now, that pictures really make a difference. The one picture of the little boy that drowned in Greece just activated so many people, and no matter how many articles have been on Twitter and it's, wherever, that picture alone really affected people in a way that all the information hadn't. And I think that images, sometimes I can't even remember the plot of a movie, but I remember certain gestures and touches and the way something almost smelled when I see it, and I think that it's just such a direct communication to your heart when you see an amazing, emotional image. I think that's probably why dance works and music works so much easier than theater sometimes, because you don't have the language when you're going from culture to culture. You can be moved by music because there's something direct in the way that images are. And you see that mother or that child or that father, and you can immediately identify in a way that you can't with stories. But stories are important, for sure. Yeah. Wow. And she translated wow.
Whoa.
Now I'm speaking Spanish. I don't know, it's about trust, isn't it? Trust, giving some kind of trust so the future can be different. It's a hard thing. And it always involves some kind of compromise. But I think that violence just does not work. It just doesn't work as a solution. This is something that the United States has to learn to think outside of that box. It's the most primitive way of solving a problem, but at the end of the day, it doesn't work. So, I mean, it's asking everyone to take a leap of faith, a Kierkegaardian, huge leap of faith. I hope that it works out for you, because I'm sure you must be tired, so tired of that drain. And there's so much joy that you're missing when you're involved, when your energy is going to these things. There's so much that you can't build and you can't enjoy, and there's so much work to be done. But I mean, you're very close, huh? I think. Are you very close? No, she says no.
Very close.
Obviously, you're not ready to compromise as much, but I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly not an expert on your political whatever, but I hope for you that it does, because it's a hard thing to live that way for so long. I actually had a friend who was murdered here who came to build a school, a Native American activist friend of mine many years ago. And she was an activist, and she came to build a school, and she was kidnapped. And they tried to negotiate and explain who she was, and she was murdered. So I know personally a little taste of the cost of this war. I personally, you know, for me, the films are best when they're surprising, and when you're in a comedy and suddenly you're crying, and when you know, but there's so many ways for films to go wrong. It's very, you know, it hardly ever works out where they're really, I mean, there's a lot of amazing Mexican directors now that are doing this kind of film, you know, this magic realism idea is pretty amazing. I mean, that's the advantage of film, isn't it? As opposed to theater. It's hard to pull it off in the theater, but it's easier to do it in film.
Do you think this new blood, new Mexican or Latin American blood in Hollywood is enhancing the view of the directing movies?
Well, they make money, so that's going to mean that they can make more films. That's why, not because they have any appreciation, but they've managed to get a lot of awards and make a lot of money, and so they'll be given more money to make more films. So, yeah, I think that's hastening it. But really, there's so many inexpensive cameras now. I think that a lot of people, for better or worse, are making a lot of little films. The problem is that there's not distribution. And that's why festivals are so important, because a lot of films can be at festivals and then the crowd really likes them, and then the studio goes, oh, well, maybe we should invest in that. So they're very important for finding new films. I mean, I just saw the Colombian entry for the Academy Awards, I don't know how you say it in Spanish, but the Embrace of the Serpent. That was, wow, that was great. And I don't think that cost a fortune to make, you know. So it's possible with all these new cameras and everything to make really amazing films within a reasonable budget, and I think it's giving people a lot of opportunity, and that the festivals are encouraging the production of these kind of endeavors, which is really, really great, because the small film houses that used to exist, for instance, in the United States, that showed a lot of foreign films and little tiny films, don't exist anymore. There are very few of them. There are all these big, corporately owned, you know, small theaters, but within those mega things. And so you're not getting the choices that you used to 25 years ago. So the festivals have filled in, I think, some of the gap for those little films and foreign films and experimental films, and that's so important. I'm here because all my plans failed. So I would say being adaptable and being courageous, especially if you're young. I mean, you should fail as big as you possibly can now. It's really important to fail, seriously. And the most successful thing you can do is find something that you really love to do. And forget about making a lot of money, and just find the thing that challenges you and frightens you, and because, I mean, that's a gift if you can figure that out. And if you're young, you shouldn't be compromising yet. You have to save that for much later. And just, you know, just fucking go for it. Yeah. the audience, Jack Henry. He's a good example. I never thought to be an actor. I never studied acting. I fell into it. After about 10 years, I figured must be what I do. And I think it really helped me that I wasn't so determined to be an actor. I really just saw it as a means to an end. But I came of age at a time when the issues were really clear. I mean, because you could see on television what was happening in the South and in Vietnam. And you know, it wasn't like now where you're really, everything's filtered unless you're watching Al Jazeera or something. You're not getting what's really going on. And so it was just part of being young, was being involved with what was going on, the Vietnam War and the desegregation of the South and women's lib. I don't think I wore a bra for 10 years. I mean, that was just part of what you were doing, right? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It was fabulous. So there wasn't a conscious decision. It was just who I was. It was who the times, what was going on in the times. And, you know, I just was searching. And it just continued, and then I fell into this funny career. And I mean, acting is not that big a deal, really. I mean, just every child does it. You know, it's just surviving that's difficult. It's not really the acting. So when people talk about their craft, I always get a little bit uncomfortable. But I think that it's trying to create your life. You know, how you spend your energy, how you spend your time, who you spend it with. Those are decisions that are as important. And I've been so lucky to be able to live so many different women's lives and learn so many different things. I've just been so very lucky, really.
Unfortunately, time is out, and
I was afraid you were going to ask some math questions.
No, not anymore. Okay.
No,
thank
geography.
You very much. Applause for Susan, please, the audience. Bueno, muchísimas gracias. A continuación, pues tengo el privilegio de tener a Susan, el presidente de la Junta Directiva del Festival, el gran Guillermo Piñeres, le hará entrega de la India Catalina como homenaje a Susan Sarandon. Entonces, no sé dónde estará el presidente. ¿Por acá?
I'm happy to see that this one actually is a woman. I can't read what it says, but when I get my glasses on. But thank you so much. I'm really happy to be in Colombia for the first time and to be in Cartagena, and I'm going to take a little trip into the jungle so I can see some more of the country. And thank you. I'll see you some more later.
With a big round of applause and emotional cries of admiration, Susan Sarandon received the honorary award India Catalina at the gala reception. The tribute to the actress, who is a legend of the world film business, ended with the good impression Susan made in Cartagena, and also with an unforgettable memory she left all of the attendees with.